Hi, everybody. I'm here with Mary Zunick, who is the Cultural Affairs Manager over at the Hot Springs Area Cultural Alliance for the latest episode of the ongoing Gallery Walk Talk series. And we took a brief break in October, but we're back now with a very special guest. Speaking of October, how was the documentary film festival?
Oh, it was fantastic. It took, I think, all of us a couple of weeks to recover from it, but lots of films, some incredible films, great crowds. It was a great way to celebrate our 31st year, and we also have a brand new executive director who will be relocating from California to Hot Springs to be the executive director of the Hot Springs Documentary Film Festival. So we're really excited about that.
Fantastic. Well, I know we have a very special guest, Erin Holliday, who I'll let you introduce here in just a moment. But before we do that, I do want to remind everybody, if you're watching this either live tonight or before the voting deadline on Election Day next Tuesday, the 8th, be sure to get out and vote. You can vote at any location in Garland County as long as you're registered in Garland County, including at the library. And there on the screen, those are the times for the next week. So please be sure to get out and do that no later than Election Day, 7:30 p.m.
I voted at the library on Monday. My son and I went his first time to vote. So it's so convenient there to have voting at the library. So thanks to you, Paul, and all of the staff at the library for making that happen, because the easier we can make it for people to vote, the better.
Absolutely. And thank you to all the poll workers, if any of you are watching this, for sitting there all day and making sure everybody gets in and gets their vote in and can cast.
Absolutely. I said the same thing to them. My mom was a poll worker, and I got roped into helping some when I was younger. And so it truly is, it's a lot of dedication and really a labor of love for our democracy, for people who work the polls.
Yeah, it's a full day commitment. They don't split up in the shifts. If you're there, you're stationed for the day.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks, Paul, for having me on again today, and so that we can talk about Gallery Walk. I feel like we should have some confetti or birthday candles. Gallery Walk, this is the 400th Gallery Walk. So we'll be hearing a little bit more about what all will go on during Gallery Walk after our guest is with us. This Gallery Walk series, we really try to not only let everybody know what's happening during Gallery Walk this month, but also to kind of chronicle our arts in Hot Springs. And we have a different artist or representative from a local arts organization on to chat about their arts journey. And today, my guest is going to be Erin Holliday. She's the executive director of Emergent Arts. That is a community arts organization in downtown. But Erin is a native of Hot Springs, where her appreciation of the arts began at an early age, attending Gallery Walk. So it does have quite an impact on our young people as well. She's also very involved in the arts and music festivals here in Hot Springs. She studied sculpture at Kansas City Art Institute. And while in Kansas City, Erin worked in the fields of education, gallery management, art handling and installation, art consulting, and community development. Her sculptures can be seen publicly around the Kansas City area and also in our sister city, Hanamaki, Japan. Erin actually was selected as a local artist to represent Hot Springs and traveled to Hanamaki, our sister city in Japan, in 2018 as an artist in residence. And she produced a beautiful piece of artwork, which we gifted to the city of Hanamaki as our 25th anniversary gift to them. Erin returned to Hot Springs from Kansas City in 2010, and since then has combined her passion for the arts and community development by leading Emergent Arts, serving on several nonprofit boards, serving the city of Hot Springs on the Community Development Advisory Committee and Planning Commission, and she is currently the District 1 City Director. Erin is a certified community and economic developer through the Community Development Institute and is pursuing her certification as an Arkansas planning official through the American Planning Association. So I'm going to ask Paul if he could bring Erin on the screen now. Welcome, Erin. I love your backdrop.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I'm actually here in the gallery at Emergent Arts. So if you hear, a car or an artist come in the front door, that's just how it goes around here. But we thought it would be fun for me to be in front of what could be seen this Friday at gallery.
Oh, excellent. Yes, because we're going to hear all about what Emergent Arts has going on all of the time, what you have going on for Gallery Walk. But first, let's hear a little bit about you. So tell me how your first involvement in the arts community in Hot Springs when you were, young Erin Holliday.
Oh my gosh. Well, I had really great parents that thought I was just kind of a little weird and did art stuff. And my dad made me a pottery wheel out of an old table saw when I was in grade school. And both of my parents were kind of worked in carpentry and worked on houses and stuff. So I was around it, and I remember Gallery Walk. I think I was maybe 14 or 15 the first time I went to Gallery Walk. So it was really early in the world of Gallery Walk here. I do remember in high school, I would take the entire week off of school and go to Documentary Film Festival, and I would bring back information and write a little report, and I got extra credit and I didn't get counted as absent. And I remember volunteering for different events and just falling in love with that community. It was really, really vibrant in the 90s, just like it is here now. And so welcoming, even though I was 14, 15, 16, before I went to college, to be in a community where I had access to professional artists, to have access to galleries and be welcomed in and not questioned as to why is this kid here. And it's still like that. That's what's really cool about our city. A lot of us in the arts, our friends and colleagues can span literal generations, and we're all peers together here. And that, I didn't realize how special it was until I lived in other communities. Kansas City is a huge arts town, but meeting kids from all over the country and realizing, like, what do you mean you don't have Gallery Walk? What do you mean you don't have poetry readings? I didn't know any different. And going to Wednesday night poetry was every Wednesday when I could drive. It was part of the norm. So, I've been participating in the art scene for almost 30 years. I'll just leave it at that. But I took that almost like fearlessness, just being a part of the community with me to Kansas City. And it really afforded me kind of a confidence to just participate in things there and then bring what I learned there back here home to kind of do what I do now.
Well, and you make a very good point. I mean, a lot of art students, when they are in high school, they know their high school arts departments. They, are closely acquainted with their art teachers, but something very unique for Hot Springs students is to actually have the ability to go walk downtown and interact face to face. You don't have to go to a planned, it's great to go to Emergent Arts or any of the other nonprofits, but you can just walk through downtown Hot Springs. So it makes quite a good point. I mean, obviously it had an impact on your life, but I think all students, whether they go into the arts, into an arts field or any field, just having that well-rounded education of exposure to the arts. So I always encourage people to take their kids with them. It's not just a stuffy gallery experience. You have fun too. So tell me a little bit about your background as an artist. So you headed off to Kansas City and
I did. I thought I was going to be a painter. And got there and took all of these classes, and I was ready to go into painting. And my advisor was like, "What do you mean painting?" And I said, "Well, that's why I'm here." And she's like, "You haven't taken a painting class yet." And I realized I was a builder. I wanted to work with tools and I wanted to work three-dimensionally. So I went in the sculpture department and graduated with a BFA in sculpture. And after graduation, I worked in early childhood education. I worked with an after-school program, and then I worked for a commercial gallery there, which was really great because we had a glass artist named Vernon Breaka who made amazing glass pieces, but was not an engineer and was not a sculptor proper. He wasn't a builder. And so we would work together, and actually I helped engineer and install about a half a dozen large glass pieces while I was at that gallery. And so learned how to do that, learned art installation, and then worked for another company where I did professional art handling. So did crating and shipping and installation and moving, and learned how to work with art objects on a museum level. And that was really fun, and was able to literally have access to pretty much every artist you've ever heard of in art history, literally Picasso's and Monet's and Manet's and Cassatt's and Wyatt's and all the things. And tried real hard not to be kind of fangirl when I would see them. But that kind of gave me a different level of experience. And then after that, I actually worked for several years at the Mattie Rhodes Art Center. And the Mattie Rhodes Center is about 130 years old now, and it's actually a social service organization that over its history has specifically targeted service in the Hispanic community. It's fully bilingual, except when I was there, I was not fully bilingual in the gallery, but the Latino Arts and Culture Center there had exhibits and a gift shop and a folk art collection that promoted Hispanic arts and culture. And so that's kind of what's going on behind me here as well, how that came here. But I worked there for several years, and that's where I got my first taste of nonprofit as well. And so it being a nonprofit, I worked with our development team, learned how United Way grants and outcomes worked, helped write other grants and do programming, and really have that amazing experience of the arts and its impact in the community, in a different kind of community, and particularly young people. And so, all those things together inspired me to make my art in a different way, and inspired me to bring the arts to the community in a different way. And my personal work, the only consistency is that it's light-based, which is a little hard to explain. But I work with either natural light or artificial light, and then materials that are either fiber optic or semi-transparent. And so, you mentioned the piece in Hanamaki. I actually used monofilament, which is fishing line. And I think we figured out it was about 5 miles of fishing line was put into that piece. And it's actually in the ceiling as part of a light fixture. So the light comes through all of these different colors of tiny plastic threads. And so that's something that I don't know if you guys have it on the Sister City website, but there's places that we can see pictures of it, and we can make a point to make
absolutely. And
as well.
Because not only did you create this beautiful piece of artwork, you actually traveled back to Hanamaki to help install it too. Because installation, I think a lot of people discount that. They think of an artist, you're painting or you're creating a sculpture, but a piece of sculpture like you create is quite a complicated shipping and installation process. So
yeah, I think we determined it was actually more cost effective for me to fly back than it would have been to ship it over.
Right.
So and for that particular piece, that blending of kind of community as well as like art production, this was a gift from Hot Springs to Hanamaki. And so I had at least a dozen people that actually helped produce all of the individual components, work with the fishing line and make the individual objects that then were affixed to the ceiling structure there. So that's something I thought was really important if we were going to give a gift to our sister city from one community to the next, that it was more than just me, that it was our community that came together and made the piece. Even though, it was my idea or my vision, there were several hands that touched it. And it's something that I couldn't have done on my own. It was too labor intensive, and I had help, which was great. And then that way, a larger portion of our community literally had their hands in making that gift.
Well, and you personally, and Emergent Arts has been such an important part of our Sister City program, whether hosting events there, exhibits, having a portable tea house pulled up in front of your trailer in front of Emergent Arts, but just a valuable community partner, not just the arts community, but also the Sister City program as well. Okay, tell us a little bit about your move back then from Kansas City. What did you come home and visit and go, oh my gosh, my heart's longing to come back to Hot Springs?
Kind of. There was my cousin got married. I came back. I reconnected with some friends, and I was a few years out of college and really had just been working and hadn't been making a lot of my own work. And I met this really great photographer in town and saw this great work that he did in a gallery downtown. And he goes, "What do you do?" And I thought, "Oh, I work." And that kind of was like what I needed to remind myself that I wasn't doing what I always thought I was going to do. And so that motivated me to get back into making artwork. And then I ended up meeting the people at Low Key Arts and joined their board even when I was still in Kansas City. And then I reconnected with old friends, met new artists, and I was just like, this doesn't make sense. I was traveling back and forth almost monthly for this event or that event, and realized when I looked at the work that I was doing in Kansas City, while it was important and wonderful and valuable, Hot Springs was my home. And so by staying in Kansas City in a metro that has a higher population than the entire state of Arkansas, the amount of work that I could put out, while valuable, may not have the same impact and the same reach. I could do that same amount of work in my hometown and have a significant reach because we're just smaller. And so that was something that was a big catalyst, that I could come home. I thought I'd only be here for a couple of years, and now we're at 12-ish years. But I could do that same kind of work here and really have a positive impact on where I grew up and kind of give to more kids the experience I had, because while it was available to everyone, at least at the time, it was still kind of unique. A lot of teenagers really just didn't know, or quite frankly, care about Gallery Walk because they're being teenagers. But to be able to be part of that conversation and bring the arts to a wider audience and provide for that kind of experience for more people here in Hot Springs was important. And I couldn't tell you how fortunate I feel that that's my life. Like, here, this kind of wonderful craziness is my grown-up job. This is what I get to do for a living. And it gives me inspiration, and it gives me time and flexibility to work on my own art or poetry when I want to, and then also to be able to work in the community on the government side and kind of blend those things has been more than I would have imagined. It's pretty wonderful.
Well, and I just have to, if you think back, when you returned to Hot Springs, what was it, 10 years ago, 12, 14, 12?
12.
Yeah. Has the Hot Springs arts community changed? I mean, you mentioned how vibrant it was in the 90s. Do you think it kind of went through a little dip in the early 2000s?
I do. And part of it was just sort of a shift. In the 90s, a lot of stuff was new. Between Doc Fest was pretty new, Poetry Night was pretty new, Gallery Walk was pretty new. So new things have an energy that's unique when it's new. And so, some of the artists who were really kind of catalysts had moved away for whatever reason, or maybe didn't have their galleries. And so, Gallery Walk still happened, which was awesome, but there were maybe less galleries. What I love is the resilience was there. There was a handful of core people that were not going to let Wednesday night poetry stop. I mean, they were not going to let Gallery Walk stop, to the extent that there was a snowstorm. And I think for Wednesday night poetry, someone walked down on Central Avenue, read a poem, and walked home to make sure that every single Wednesday night was kept. And so, huge kudos to everyone who kept it going. But then I think all of a sudden, partially from Low Key and the VOV Festival kind of kicking up in, I don't know, it's been maybe 10 or 12 years for that, 15, I should know that. But also, Doc Fest kind of went through an arc and has come back up. Arts Cooperative Team kind of faded away, but then the Cultural Alliance came back up. And so, and I would say in the last, 6 or 8 years specifically, it's really like blossomed again. Hot Springs has always been known as a great arts town, and it was originally kind of known because it was a great arts town to see art. And I think the experience is different. Dryden's been here since the 50s, which is great, but now we also have Riley Art Class. We've had Fox Pass Pottery for a long time. Like we have some core individuals producing amazing work that tourists can see, that residents can see. And then we have, Emergent Arts. And we've been here. Next year will be our 10th anniversary here in this building. The Cultural Alliance has a similar. I don't remember how old.
This will be our 10th festival. 2023 will be the 10th festival. So
in the last 10 years, there's been a lot of us who have just like, hey, we can do this. What are you doing? Let's do this together. And because we're all working together, kind of more and more is happening again. And there was a little bit of a dip, and I think it was because something worked and it worked well. And so it was a little stationary for a while, but then realizing, wait a minute, there's a little bit of a vacuum because these guys left or this gallery closed, so someone else could come in and do something new and innovative. And that's kind of where we are now. Is I think we're definitely still growing. I don't think we've hit a plateau yet. I think we're still getting larger and more dynamic, in our arts community here.
And I would agree with that completely. I remember when we were talking about restructuring the Cultural Alliance, I mentioned it to someone, the Arts Cooperative team, kind of revamping it. And I was told, no, that kind of ran its course. We don't need that anymore. And I think about, how much has grown out of that, or how many artists have been supported and inspired. And then of course, Emergent Arts. I mean, all that you do to, I feel like this generation of, low key arts and Cultural Alliance and Emergent Arts kind of picked up the torch that had been started. And so we're passing it on to the future. And of course at Emergent Arts, you're kind of passing it on just like you were exposed to the art to the next generation of artists, but not just children. I mean, you don't just have children's activities at Emergent Arts, do you?
No, we do all kinds of things. So our summer camp program starts at age 5. So we don't do any early childhood art just because the building doesn't facilitate it. This is really not a 3-year-old friendly kind of art studio. But all the way up, our oldest students have been in their 80s, and they were dance students of all things. So it's everywhere in between. And so we have our community art gallery here. So for artists that are established or just starting, they can have the experience of being in a gallery, and we can help them make sure their pieces are hung properly or have the right hardware on them and understand what a consignment agreement is and what why you should have insurance when you put, someone needs to insure your work when it's somewhere. An extension of the gallery, we actually do the art wall at the Garland County Library. So that's another opportunity for local artists that we provide. And then we've got a performing arts studio and a visual arts studio where those classes take place. This fall, we have had polymer clay classes, which is like Sculpey. We've had regular traditional clay with hand building and wheel throwing. We've had kids kind of general after school arts. We had a belly dance fusion class for a while. So kind of anything in between. And sometimes it's a one-off workshop. You just come for a couple hours on a Saturday. Other times it'll be 6 or 8 weeks, a couple times a week to really get into a process. So there's kind of something for everybody. We also do have scholarships. And so that's one of the things we want to make sure that whatever it is that we provide to the community, that anyone can come. Our after school classes are scheduled, so at least students who are in the Hot Springs School District can take the bus, and the bus stops half a block away. And then that way, transportation, if that's an issue for a family, they can come and they can be here for the roughly 2 hours of after school and then be picked up after work by their parents. Scholarships cover up to 75% of the tuition. We'll cover all of the supply fees, so it can be very affordable for families. Scholarships are also for adults. We understand that not every adult has the disposable income to just go take a 6-week art class. And we would rather have people here. And we have a lot of really wonderful funders that would rather make sure that people are participating than worry about how much money we're making. As long as our doors stay open, we're going to make sure people can come in here. We've also been partnering with other organizations. I go and teach a workshop. I've done it once a quarter this last year. I'll do it every other month next year with the Garland County Library about traditions from around the world. And I'll do an art project with kids, and the library reads a story. And we also partner with High Impact, which is an after-school program to provide art classes for them. And in the past, we've also partnered with organizations that have worked with children and adults that would be considered more sensitive populations, either at-risk youth, those who maybe aren't in their home for whatever reason, or are dealing with different behavioral health or mental health issues. And we've provided targeted programming for them as well in a way that's private, that's appropriate to whatever experience they need to have. And you know, really our goal is to make sure that whatever someone needs to be like their best creative self, that we provide that. Our newest programs, actually, we have an art supply studio here. We have, it's actually a converted shipping container in our parking lot. And so as people donate things, we'll get some weird stuff we'll never use. It goes out there. We might get more of what we'll ever need. And so people can come and buy things for kind of pennies on the dollar, or we've had other nonprofits and teachers that can just come and have things. So they can do a program they couldn't afford to do otherwise. We also have a studio membership program where this is adults, where adults can pay a $30 membership fee and they get 24/7 access to the studio. We have a black and white darkroom, a fiber studio, stuff for jewelry making, our full ceramics equipment, stuff for block printing. We've got a few upgrades we need to do, and we'll be able to do stained glass and encaustic as well. We have things for framing and matting, and then, you know, also just the space to be able to do painting or drawing. And then our performing arts membership is only $25, and then people can come and sign the room out and go and be able to dance with double ballet bars and a full wall of mirrors and work on, you know, if they're a performer elsewhere, you know, professionally, or kind of dipping their toe in it, they can come here and actually perform and have those mirrors and have a room that's the size of a stage and work on what they're working on. So we have, you know, like I said, our students are anything from a really excited 5-year-old that has zero clue what they want to make to semi-professional dancers who come in and use our space to practice. So yeah, we definitely keep busy, but like I said, our number one goal is to really just have a space where people can just explore their creativity and be their best creative selves.
Excellent. And you certainly welcome everyone in as well. I mean, all sorts, all ages, all backgrounds, and it's just a very welcoming and warm environment to come and explore creative opportunities and maybe check out something, whether it's drawing that you've never really drawn before. You could be completely a novice and go to some of the classes, correct? You don't have to
Absolutely. And we try to be very clear about that when we list our classes. A couple of classes are going to be a little more advanced just because we have other students that want to advance. And then other ones are literally, you've never had to touch watercolor before, or clay, or know anything about belly dancing. You know, you can come and start there. And we actually are a United Way partner agency. And one of the initiatives we have through United Way is actually making sure that we provide appropriate services to individuals with developmental disabilities. So all of our teaching artists have access to additional information and training as needed to make sure that if we have a student who gets overstimulated, or maybe they don't have the same fine motor skills as another student, that they also can have a successful experience here. We also honor students wherever they are in the world. We call all of our students by the name that they choose. If they want to have a fun art nickname, or they have a chosen name that's different than their birth name, we respect everyone's pronouns as they come in here, because when you come in this studio, you are your artist persona, whatever that means. You can leave whatever you want at the door. One thing that's a little hard for some parents is we don't allow parents in our classroom at all. And so, because the whole idea is this young person, you know, when they go into that art studio, they can take with them their role as a daughter or a son or a brother or a sister, or they don't. It's up to them. And for a lot of students, it's very liberating to be able to just go in and just be free and experience. And then parents are welcome to come and see what they've done, you know, afterwards. And we're fortunate the way this particular studio is set up. You know, parents can sit kind of in a lobby area and they can hear everything that's happening. So they're not, it's not that they don't know what's going on. It's just that the child is given that complete autonomy without influence from their parents or their siblings to just be their creative self in class. And we found a lot of success with that. That's been really a really cool thing for our kids.
Yes, and I've heard you mention this before in the past, so I'm just going to kind of bring it up, the need for teachers. I mean, you offer all of these classes, but you have to have teachers, correct? So who makes a good teacher?
You know, I would say almost anybody, not anybody, because not everybody's a teacher. And so we really try to work with a teaching artist model, which is an artist who wants to essentially share what they know and love, which is different than an art teacher. We do have some of our teachers, especially for the younger kids, are art teachers because that experience in education and classroom management actually goes very far when you have several young kids. But particularly with our adult classes, we want artists to come in who do whatever it is that they do, and we help them through you know, doing our administration and enrollment and taking the money and dealing with scholarships and having the studio. And so we provide all of that extra stuff. All the teaching artist has to do is show up and share what it is they love with other people. And even if they've never taught before, that's conversations that we have in advance. If they've never been in front of a group, you know, we're here. We can be in the class if need be to sort of help just manage making sure everybody gets the right kind of scissors or you know, the kind of nuts and bolts of teaching that someone may not, they just may not know if they've never done it before. But we really love that teaching artist model, because what happens then is you have this artist who is also learning a different skill. Like that teaching artist now has the experience of being a teacher. And we've had some teaching artists in the past who have gone on to teach at National Park College, who've gone on to teach workshops in schools. And so it's been really great that when they came here, they were, I'm going to air quotes, just an artist. It's not demeaning, but they didn't have much experience teaching. And because of their experience here, they had the confidence and the experience to teach elsewhere, which also for those artists is a good income stream too, because sometimes it is hard to make a full living as a working artist. And if you can, you know, if you can make a little extra teaching and find out that you love teaching, all the better. And that is something we absolutely welcome volunteer teachers, but that is not how we're set up. Our teachers do get paid. So, you know, anyone who's interested in teaching, and then on the other side, anyone who's interested in learning something, if we don't have it, we might be able to find a teacher. And anyone, if they show up with 4 or 5 people, we all want to learn X, we'll try to find the teacher and we'll build a class around it and make it happen.
Well, and the need for emergent arts is so strong in our community because we don't have a performing arts center or a public art exhibit space like a lot of cities do. So just having emergent arts as a nonprofit, because not all kids play baseball or softball or basketball, you know, so it's wonderful to have an opportunity for students who are more inclined to the arts to experience, to go in and play, to participate.
Yep. And to really be honored with that. The lobby area I mentioned is also actually a student gallery. So as their work is complete, it goes up on the walls. And so when they come in the next time, they see their artwork on the walls. A lot of the artwork behind me actually was done by students from Lakeside. Like, we encourage young people to display with us. You know, we don't require it only be a certain level or a certain experience level. And we also, you know, talking about kids that aren't into one thing and into another, we actually partner with the Hot Springs Children's Dance Theater Company on a class where they do the Nutcracker every year. Many of us have seen that, and it's a mix of students and professional dancers. But we partner with them we've done set design in the past, and this year and last year we're doing costume design. So some people love the theater, but they don't want to be on stage. And so we're providing an opportunity for kids that love the costumes, but don't dance. And so they actually get to learn costuming. They get to see their work on stage on professional dancers. Like some of the costumes they make are on the professional ballet dancers. And then they're listed in the program. They're thanked at the top of the show, just like all of the dancers are as well. Because the reality is, especially in performance, it's not just those on stage. It takes this huge team. And so doing set design and costume design is another way to make sure that, you know, everybody is kind of reached and given an opportunity to try something and be successful, and then really be championed for what it is that they've done. And that's been a really, really cool program, and something that neither organization could do without the other. And I really love that that's how that's worked out.
That's a wonderful collaborative partnership too. I think that's brilliant to reach out. And Emergent Arts, as I think I may have mentioned this, has been so good about working with the Cultural Alliance for Art Springs or hosting different events at Emergent Arts. Now, where is Emergent Arts, and what kind of spaces do you have there? You mentioned some of them, but just give us a little bit more about your physical property.
So if everyone's familiar with downtown, as you head north downtown, you know, Central splits into Park and Whittington. So we're on Whittington Avenue, which would be, you know, west. And we're in the front part of Dryden Pottery. A lot of people are familiar with where Dryden is. And it's right where Whittington splits and the park begins. And you'll recognize this because we always have some crazy mural on the front of the building and a big blue stripe and blue doors right up on Whittington. Parking is easy. It's ADA accessible. You know, anyone is welcome to come in. And we have about 4,000 square feet here. And so we have our community gallery that I'm sitting in, our performing arts studio that, like I said, has the full mirrors. We've also used that for other workshops, not just movement, but it's a good meeting space. We've had people use it for meetings. And then our visual art studio is a big open room that has your traditional art class stuff all over it. And then individual rooms, which would be that dark room and printmaking, you know, the fiber studio that has stuff for sewing and needlework, lots of fabric and yarn. We also have a loom up there that people can work on. The 3D studio has a jeweler's bench, and we're actually incorporating some new tools in there as well. So we'll have a full jeweler's bench and some stuff to work with copper enameling and glass in there. The ceramics room has wheels, a slab roller, tons of slip casting molds. We also have slip and glazes available here since we don't have an art supply store in town that would carry stuff like that. We do have those materials. We have 2 ceramic kilns. We have a glass kiln, so we'll be able to do some glass fusing. And so in all of that, it's kind of all crammed together up there, but that's what makes it fun and dynamic. And so yeah, we have a lot of fun here. And anytime we're open, anytime the door's open, people can come in and just wander through, ask us questions. A lot of times during gallery walk, people kind of tiptoe in. They don't know what to expect. And we just have all the doors open and people can check it out and ask us anything about it. So.
Well, and you know, a lot of people may think of gallery walk as when galleries open up downtown, but Emergent Arts is almost always open for gallery walk and participating with different programs. So on our November gallery walk, our celebration of 400 gallery walks, yay. So what will be happening at Emergent Arts?
Okay, so this will technically be the closing of our exhibit. So you see behind me, this is a little not what you would expect at a gallery typically. So we are celebrating Dia de los Muertos, and actually today is one of the Days of the Dead, November 1st and 2nd. It's a holiday that is traditionally celebrated in Mexico and has come to the United States over the decades. And it's a really lovely holiday that's about celebrating and remembering those who have passed before us. And so you'll see we have our Manny and Katrina skeleton puppets that are sitting back here, and we have the community altar. And what's really lovely about this, we always have a large altar where we invite people from the community to bring pictures or items of people that their loved ones who've passed away. And so it's really this wonderful celebration of all of those who've come before us in our community. One thing that we usually do around this particular exhibit is we always have some type of craft activity going on in the gallery. So we have a table set up, and we had several kids around it in October for the opening, making nichos, which is like a niche. So we have little boxes where people can make their own little altars with sugar skulls and happy skeletons and flowers and beads and all kinds of fun stuff to just celebrate life. And that's what all the symbolism is during the Days of the Dead. It's not about loss. It's not about being sad. It's actually about celebrating life and about that balance of life and death. And we're here to have those conversations when people walk in and go, why am I looking at skulls? What's happening? And we will talk about the history of that. And my personal history is not, I'm not Hispanic at all, but when I was in Kansas City and worked for the Mattie Road Center, I helped do several Dia de los Muertos displays and celebrations, and absolutely fell in love with the holiday and the culture and everything around it, and know that we have a vibrant Hispanic community here in Hot Springs. So providing a space for people to learn about that in a way that is authentic and appropriate and respectful, and honoring, some traditions that do absolutely take place here in our own community as well, not just in Mexico.
Well, and thank you for giving a space for this, because our theme last inspired by your own personal cultural heritage or the heritage of our state. So we had many artists who submitted artwork for our moves or the other exhibits that do have a Hispanic background. So that I think that's very much a part of not only shining light on different types of artists, if you will, or different backgrounds of artists, but giving them a space and appreciation and education for those of us who don't have that same shared background. Because the more we can learn about other cultures, and the more appreciation we have, the education component is just such an important part of that. So
absolutely. Absolutely. And art, at its core is communication. If it's communicating an emotion that the artist has, or if it's capturing a moment in nature or the image of a person, producing artwork is about communicating. And how wonderful is it that, through the artwork that's made for this exhibit, or the work that we've collaborated on when the Japanese exhibits have come through, or anything with Sister City, that we can just be that conduit and facilitate that communication of celebrating other cultures in a way that's easy to access to someone who's never accessed it. And that's what's really great about really good art and about community art spaces, is that someone that feels they don't know anything about art can still come in and feel comfortable and learn something and see something that they just might find interesting. Sometimes that's all it is. Like, oh, that was interesting, moving on. It doesn't have to be profound. It can be as basic as that, or other people who are incredibly moved and connect with what it is that they see. And so, again, like I said, this is what I get to do as a grown-up in the world. It's I feel incredibly grateful that I get to do that, and everybody is welcome to participate, if it's as a student, as a visitor, as an artist. We are the art center for the community, and we want to keep doing that. So whatever it is that someone needs, creatively, just let us know, and we're
well, and I think you have a class that's about to come in so I think we probably need to wrap it up, or you're going to get invaded. But I want to put in a plug there. You are a 501c3 nonprofit organization. Is that correct?
Correct. We are.
So there could possibly be some tax benefits if anyone wanted to give a large sum of money to support Emergent Arts.
Yeah, I have little people coming through.
Yes.
I see them in the windows. So we are a nonprofit, which means if people make donations, they're tax deductible donations. We take donations of art supplies and materials. And even if it's something that we're not necessarily going to use right away, or even ever, that's why we have the art supply studio, or the art supply store, because someone may need it. I would rather things not go in the landfill. That's really the bottom line. And as we know, artists can make something really cool out of junk, absolute junk. And so yeah, we usually tend to say yes before we say no when it comes to donations, and really try to make the best use of it. But we do have a website. All of our classes are there. It's really easy to navigate. It's just Emergent Arts with an S.org. And you can see what's coming up. We have our spring classes are starting to already be listed. So, buying a gift certificate or registering a child for a class for a Christmas present or stocking stuffer is good. We try to be out as soon as we can in the fall, so people can buy those for Christmas presents. And a lot of times we don't have a lot of artwork for sale here since we're a little non-traditional, but it's definitely worth coming and checking out. We do have, if you can see over my shoulder right now, we have Day of the Dead themed jewelry here that one artist made, as well as the artwork. So we're just kind of a fun, different place to check out. But like any nonprofit, we'll absolutely take any donation we can get.
Well, thank you so much for your time, Erin, and I'll let you go so you can go take care of the business of making Emergent Arts happen, and let your next crew come in and make some more art happen here in Hot Springs. So thank you very much, Erin. Be sure to stop by Emergent Arts on Friday night during Gallery Walk or anytime. Any closing comments or thoughts?
No, just thank you so much for taking the time. And I've got, hi guys. Thanks for having me. And we're pretty easy to find down at 341 Whittington, or check us out online or on social media. We're just here to help be part of this like amazing creative community of Hot Springs. So thank you.
Thanks, Erin. Thank you. Okay, Paul, now we'll switch gears and talk about what, besides Dia de los Muertos, did I get that right, is happening during Gallery Walk on Friday night. So if Paul will help me switch over here, I think he will. There we go. And I am now going to trade screens, and there's always a glitch here where I get switched over to there we go. Now I'll just share a little bit about what's happening on this 400th edition of Gallery Walk. Now, Gallery Walk takes place the first Friday of every single month, and it has since 1989. We celebrated 33 years in August, but this is our 400th, so something new to celebrate. So if you start your gallery walk over on Esther's, that's one of our newer galleries here in Hot Springs, and they have some great live painting going on and musical performance even during Gallery Walk on Friday night. And you'll see a familiar name there, Jet Johnson. He's been out. A lot of us have really missed seeing Jet around. He's had some health issues, but he's back, and he will be doing live paintings, as will Don Watson, Hunter Hatcher, and Angelina Harden. So stop by Esther's on Gallery Walk night, and that's down at 305 Broadway. So down kind of across from the fire station. And right around the corner from there, you go onto Central Avenue, and you can stop at Justice Fine Art Gallery. Now, Justice Fine Art Gallery is owned by the artist Dolores Justice, so you can see her amazing artwork there at Justice Fine Art Gallery. But the featured artist this month, we have Tony Saladino. You can see his work there on the screen, and For the Birds up there by Susan Baker Chambers on top. But those are just a couple of the artists. Dolores's gallery is so elegant and beautiful, and just filled with incredible artwork by local artists Gary Simmons and Jean Sparling's wood-turned bowls and vessels, as well as there's just jewelry, really something for everyone. And some beautiful Sandra Sell and Robin Horn pieces as well for sculpture. So you don't want to miss Justice Fine Art Gallery. On down just the street from a little bit, the next couple of slides here are some spaces that are not traditional galleries, but stay open late for Gallery Walk to be a part of the festivity. Photographer Rebecca Peterman has her gallery open there. It's on the second floor of Spencer's Corner. And she's doing a 50-50 series, a series of portraits of women over 50 and how women transform as they age. All things Arkansas, just down Central Avenue a bit. Of course, they have many local artisans and artists artwork there, as well as many other gift items from Arkansas, culinary gifts, wood turning, pottery. You can see there's some beautiful artwork that you can pick up at All Things Arkansas. It's also a great shop for gift giving. Just down the street from All Things Arkansas is American Art Gallery. Now this is Hot Springs' oldest gallery. It was originally Arkansas Art Gallery. It was opened for the first gallery walk in 1989. It's now owned by Ann and Willie Gilbert. They're the second owners of the gallery. But the featured artist this month is Jimmy Leach. You can see there his summer still life of the floral arrangement there. And then wood turnings by Virgil Barksdale. There's also a great story about American Art Gallery, one of their artists in the Springs magazine this month. You can pick up a copy of the Springs magazine. They do a great job of talking about all that's happening within the local arts community. And Joanne Mangione is the owner of Springs magazine. And just a huge thanks to Joanne for always helping get the word out about Gallery Walk. Artist Workshop Gallery is on down also on Central Avenue. Artist Workshop Gallery is a cooperative of galleries or a cooperative artist where you can see the work of many local artists and they all spend time in there. So odds are pretty good when you go in and stop by any day of the week. You can see the hours there on the window on the slide. Any day of the week when you stop by, and you'll probably meet one of the artists who has work hanging there. The featured artist for this month is Joe Wilcox. You can see his work there, Raspberry Sunday on the left of your screen, and Happy Hour is by Rita Turner. I think they're both Hot Springs Village artists, so artists from all around this entire area represented there at Artist Workshop Gallery. Also, in addition to paintings, there's sculpture, there's lots of jewelry, beautiful scarves by Pat Langowis. So really something for everybody. Another good gift giving spot. So as we start shifting into gears and thinking about the holidays, I encourage you to make our downtown galleries and our local artists your first thought and your first stop when it comes to your gift giving. Our newest gallery in Hot Springs, Wrapped Gift Boutique, opened earlier this year. It's owned by Audrey Smith, and she has some amazing local artists represented there as well. You can see there Pinch Me, the Lake Hamilton Sunset Series. Allison Parsons, Allison owned a gallery for many years and was always one of my favorite stops to be sure to get to when she was open for Gallery Walk. But now you can find Allison's work at Wrapped Gift Boutique. And Audrey said that in addition to the Sunset Series, which I think those sell about as fast as she brings them down there, you can also see some of Allison's Jockey Series as we're getting close to Oaklawn opening back up for racing in December. So you can see several of her jockey pieces there, as well as some birds, her bird series. So, and there's originals as well as prints there as well. Riley Art Glass also can be found at Wrapped Gift Boutique. You can see the pumpkins there on the screen and one of the sculptural pieces from Riley Art Glass. I was in Riley last week and they are making pumpkins. So the image in this one, the pumpkins are more straight up. Some of them have really curly tops, but beautiful pumpkins there at Riley Art Glass. From Riley Art Glass at Wrapped Gift Boutique. At Gallery Central is located on the first floor of the Waters Hotel on the left-hand side of the lobby there. And you can see artwork by Polly Cook, glassware by James Hayes, another Arkansas artist, and many other artists, as well as when they moved down from their previous location, Gallery Central added some other boutique items as well. On around the corner on Whittington Avenue, if you head up Whittington Avenue toward Emergent Arts that we just spoke about, you get to Whittington Gallery there on your left, just past Whittington Place. And there will be having several artists do live paintings also on Gallery Walk Friday night. So, and boy, I think there's about 40 artists or more represented there at Whittington Gallery and Studios. So it's a wonderful place to stop in and check out the work of numerous different artists there at Whittington Gallery and Studio. All local artists too. So some artists just getting started out. You can see the artwork from John Mark Baker there, the sculptural pieces, paintings, cards. Diana Garrison has several pieces there. Eileen Manis, but just a number of local artists there at Whittington Gallery. On down to Dryden Pottery. Dryden Pottery has been in business for over 75 years. The third generation potter, Zach Dryden, is usually there with the wheel going, and so you can see the tradition of Dryden pottery that continues within the Dryden family. Zach's dad, Kimbo Dryden, was actually just the recipient of the Arkansas Living Treasure Award this year, or recognized as an Arkansas Living Treasure, which he certainly is. A lot of times you'll see him in there on Gallery Walk night as well. But stop in and tell Zach hello and see the beautiful, vibrant color. That's what Dryden is really known for, those beautiful Dryden colors, and some pieces that are not only beautiful but have a good sense of humor or are fun. And again, everything from a mug to a beautiful vase to the largest vase in the world, I think is what the claim to fame there at Dryden Pottery. So so stop by Dryden Pottery on Gallery Walk night. And next door to Dryden Pottery, of course, is Emergent Arts, the Circle Gallery at Emergent Arts, to enjoy or learn a little bit more. You know, just a few years ago, I had never really heard of Dia de los Muertos. So stop in, tell Erin and Kara hello at Emergent Arts, and learn a little bit more about Dia de los Muertos. So that will wrap up our information about Gallery Walk. And I'm going to stop sharing here. Are we back, Paul?
All right. Thank you for that information. That was.
You were back. I wasn't. I just didn't have the right screen pulled up. So there you are.
Yeah, excellent talk with Erin Holliday.
Yes. Oh, yeah. She's great. Between the two of us, we could talk for 2 more hours.
Well, there may have to be a part 2.
Yeah, that's great. Well, we're so appreciative to Erin for taking time to do this, and to make art accessible to everyone. So Gallery Walk is not just for a stuffy highbrow event for people who are very educated about all of the arts and want to go hang out with other very educated people about all of the arts. You know, there's places for that, but it's accessible and everyone as well.
Absolutely. And thanks to you, you always get some of the best guests, and they're not just of local interest. I mean, they're real regional talents. Oh,
absolutely. We're very fortunate. Hot Springs, you know, I had a visitor here the other day, and we were talking about how many Governor's Arts Award recipients, Arkansas Living Treasure recipients live and work right here in Hot Springs. And we're just very fortunate that we have the arts tradition of Gallery Walk, and so many artists living here among us.
We'll go us.
Yes, yeah. Go Hot Springs.
All right. Well, before I say goodbye, are there any upcoming events that you'd like to highlight?
Yes. Actually, there are. On Saturday morning at 11 a.m. at the Hot Springs Convention Center, we'll be showing a film about Mike Disfarmer. If you haven't seen it yet, we have an exhibit in the Hot Springs Convention Center along the main concourse of the work of Arkansas photographer Mike Disfarmer. He started photography in Heber Springs in the early part of the 1900s, 19-teens, and photographed all the way up through the 1950s. Actually, I have a little program here. This is one example of his one of the photos, but that we have 30 pieces of his artwork hanging along the convention center main concourse. And we'll be showing a film about Mike Disfarmer on Saturday morning at 11 a.m. And the exhibit and the film are free and everyone is welcome. So the exhibit will be coming down soon. So you'll want to stop in and check that out before, while it's still there. I don't have the date for it to come down yet. And to check out that film. And then on Monday evening, the Hot Springs Area Cultural Alliance, our mission is to celebrate, advocate, and promote the arts and culture of Hot Springs. Well, another part, we do that through the Arts Festival and through programs like this to highlight and talk about our local artists and our arts community. But another thing that we do is we try to offer opportunities for artists to come together through a networking meeting. We're doing a networking meeting on Monday, November 7th. So the day before everybody goes to vote, if that's your last chance to vote in this election on Tuesday. So Monday evening, the 7th at Central Theater, you can come down and learn share information about what individual artists are doing. You can find out more about what's happening within the arts community. And it's also a great way for artists to collaborate. And this time we're even asking artists, it's called show and tell. So if an artist would like to bring a piece of their artwork and, an opportunity to talk to other artists about their artwork. So many artists, it's more of a solitary profession. You're in your studio, you're creating work. So this is an opportunity for artists to come together. And that's, again, on Monday at 5:30 at Central Theater.
And I've got one to mention too that a lot of viewers of this show might enjoy, and I think you might enjoy, Mary. Next Thursday evening, we're partnering with the Garland County Audubon Society. They're going to have Tim Ernst down, of course, the renowned Arkansas wildlife photographer, and reportedly this might be his last public appearance. He'll have do a presentation and have books available for sale and signing, and do a Q&A afterwards. There's no registration required, but it will be first come, first served seating.
Oh, wow. We are so fortunate to have him here in Hot Springs. I did not know about that. Thank you.
Absolutely.
That's fantastic. We're so lucky. Y'all are lucky to have him. I've tried to get in touch with him. It's kind of hard to get in touch with, and to hear that he's not going to be doing it much more, that's
yes.
really exciting. I'm sure you'll have a packed house.
And I had tried to get him in the past as well, but it was Jerry Butler over at the Audubon Society. He was able to crack the code and finally get him down here.
Yeah, I know who to call. I need his number. Maybe I'll set him on some other people too. But that's very cool. That's exciting. Thanks, Paul.
Absolutely. All right. Well, we'll stay tuned for future episodes and announcements of the next Gallery Walk Talk series. We try and keep it on the first Wednesday of the month. Unfortunately, we skipped October, but there's many episodes you can go back and watch. Mary's had lots of excellent guests on the show before, and all of these are recorded on the library's Facebook and YouTube, wherever you watch. So if you enjoyed this one, go check out some of the past ones, and hopefully we'll see you next month.
Sounds good. Thanks so much, Paul.
Absolutely. Take care.